Well, hello again, kiddies. This is your friendly neighborhood watchman with you again on yet another video featuring that prick, Alec Baldwin. This will be volume 6, as I've numbered them since following this case. Sad and totally preventable, which makes it all the more tragic. So we'll be reading this article by Maureen Callahan of the New York Post. I'll be reading it with you for the first time. Baldwin's lies, the part he played, and his responsibility for what happened that day in the filming of Rust. That's what I get from the title of the article anyway. Walls close in on Alec Baldwin as his gun lie falls apart. Alec Baldwin has always insisted, despite all evidence to the contrary, that he didn't pull that trigger. The FBI now says that he did. That finding, released over the weekend, comes just after the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office announced it's only waiting for Baldwin's phone records before sending its investigative file to the DA's office. Are the walls closing in yet, Alec? This FBI report is reason to cheer. Not since O.J. Simpson have we seen someone so guilty act so aggrieved, entitled, put upon, and victimized. As if this whole tragedy has affected no one more than Baldwin himself. Not Halyna Hutchins, not Halyna Hutchins' husband, not her little boy so traumatized after her death that he couldn't speak for days, but Alec freaking Baldwin. You nailed that one, Maureen. And don't forget his narcissistic ass of a wife, too. Think that's overstatement?
Nope!
No, I don't. Let me count the ways. Gallivanting through the Hamptons and Vermont, just days after the shooting. Baldwin shopping at Ralph Lauren and preening before the paparazzi. You know, the ones he otherwise hates and physically attacks, so they could get the perfect shot of Baldwin inside a gleaming restaurant, holding his head in his hands. I made a video about that. The bizarre roadside presser with his fake Spanish wife. So bizarre, pretending to be Spanish. In which he claimed the Rust set was run by a very, very well-oiled crew here, who just had the bad luck to suffer this 1 in a trillion tragedy. 1 in a trillion, huh? Evidently not with you around. You suckers. The barrage of social media posts in the days after, Hilaria and Alec gloating over their family, that is, when Hilaria wasn't getting in on the victim act herself, writing that, quote, parenting through this has been an intense experience, to say the least. I mean, can you believe the nerve on that bitch? Know what else will be an intense experience? Criminal charges, jail time, and the loss of all his money in civil litigation. Amen. On Monday, the New Mexico medical investigator ruled the shooting an accident. The district attorney has yet to decide whether to file charges. As if we need to see more pictures of this prick. Did I mention that the Baldwins thought there was no better time to buy a sprawling, historic Vermont farmhouse for $1.75 million? That's how delusional these two are. How surely they believe Alec to be above the law or any consequence. As two firearm experts in onset safety told me last year, guns don't fire themselves. Alec Baldwin, for all his caterwauling and crocodile tears, pulled that trigger and killed Halyna Hutchins. I'm not aware of any gun firing itself, veteran Hollywood firearms expert Steve Wolf told me last December. And Alec's poor me softball sit-down with ABC's George Stephanopoulos, his good pal from the Hamptons social scene. Not that either disclosed that little conflict of interest. The trigger still must have been pressed, Wolf said. It's really important to discredit anyone who claims that guns fire themselves. If this becomes an acceptable defense, there goes any accountability when it comes to shooting people. We can't have this kind of guns shoot themselves thing. They don't. Former FBI agent turned Hollywood firearms consultant Bobby Chacon told me the same thing. The bullet striking and killing that woman came out of the barrel of the gun pointed directly at her, Chacon said. Bullets don't curve. He isn't the Matrix. The trigger would still have to be pulled. Alec to Stephanopoulos. I would never point a gun at anyone or pull the trigger at them. Never.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them. Never.
Lie. That's a damn lie. Also, he was brazen enough to say he felt no guilt. And that still pisses me off. Can you believe that? Yo, I believe it. This is Alec Baldwin we're talking about. One of the biggest pricks on earth. This was the same interview in which Baldwin claimed Hutchins told him to point the gun at her. Everything is at her direction, he said. I'm holding a gun where she told me to hold it, which ended up right below her armpit. So which is it, Alec? You never point a gun at anyone? Or you pointed the gun at Hutchins because she told you to? And if it's the latter, what are we to infer? That Hutchins is to blame for you pulling the trigger and shooting her to death? In his world, yep. It's also vile. Say that again. But take heart. As a producer on Rust, Baldwin may also share blame for the rookie mistakes and cost-cutting that led up to this tragedy. Don't forget that on the morning Hutchins was killed, 7 crew members walked off the set over safety concerns. A well-oiled machine, huh, Alec? At least one had sounded the alarm to the unit production manager. At one point texting, we've now had 3 accidental discharges. This is super unsafe. Damn, talk about foreboding. That woman should still be alive. It's easy to see how such standard safety protocols went ignored and how dire warnings were shrugged off. As the old saying goes, the fish rots from the head, and Baldwin, as we've all seen over the past year, lives in a reality of his own making. His wife, Hillary Thomas, from Boston, not Spain, is, to sheer force of make-believe and some bronzer, Spanish. His great friend Woody Allen is just misunderstood. And of course, it's totally proper to brag about your happy family life incessantly on Instagram while ignoring your part in destroying another young family. In Baldwin's demented worldview, anyone who thinks he's responsible for the death of a beautiful young wife and mother, her whole life and career ahead of her, must be motivated by animus or greed. Even the widower. What you have is a certain group of people, litigants, and whatever, on whatever side, who, the attitude is, well, the people who likely seem negligent have no money, and the people who have money are not negligent. That was Baldwin, in March, weeks after Hutchins' widower filed his civil suit against Baldwin, and went on the Today Show, calmly expressing his justifiable anger over Baldwin's interview with Stephanopoulos. Hearing him blame Halyna in the interview and shift responsibility to others.
How did a real bullet get on that set?
I have no idea. Someone put a live bullet in a gun. A bullet that wasn't even supposed to be on the property.
How do you respond to actors like George Clooney who say that every time they were handed a gun, they checked it themselves?
And seeing him cry about it?
She was someone who was loved by everyone who worked with and liked by everyone who worked with and admired.
I just feel, are we really supposed to feel bad about you, Mr. Baldwin? Hutchins went on to state the obvious, which again continues to elude Baldwin. Baldwin, who prides himself on being smarter than the average Hollywood duck, with what his one-time NPR show and his best-selling memoir and his coverage in the New Yorker and telling the New York Times that he was qualified to be governor of New York. Oh, and his liberal bona fides with his SNL spoof of Donald Trump, a man he has more in common with than he could ever admit. Alright, Maureen, I don't know what the hell you went with there. Donald never shot anyone. Lest there remain any doubt as to who Alec Baldwin really is, consider these text messages between Baldwin and Matt Hutchin, whom Baldwin was so quick to befriend in the hours after the shooting. Yeah, I noticed that too. And then quick to turn on him after he made the interview on the Today Show, criticizing Baldwin on his interview with Stephanopoulos on ABC. Wednesday, December 1st, 2021. After Hutchins reaches out to Baldwin. Alec Baldwin, I am with my kids! Exclamation points. Your attorney told me not to contact you. So, what's up? What's up? Bitch, you just killed my wife, that's what's up. What's up? That says it all. That's Baldwin saying, why are you bothering me? What could you possibly have to say? Can't we just do this to lawyers? What are you, sad or something? Alec Baldwin, make sure you tell your lawyer that you reached out to me and not vice versa. Oh, very caring man, full of compassion. Matt Hutchins, of course. You can always text me if you have something on your mind. Baldwin, your lawyer sent a variant of a cease and desist to me. Told me not to contact you. So there's that. How callous, how heartless, especially for someone who has spent the last 10 months begging for sympathy and understanding. Karma isn't a big enough concept to describe what Alec Baldwin has coming. Damn, I hope you're right. Fortunately for decent people everywhere, sloppy emotional ploys and disgusting attempts to blame the victim do not apply to the criminal justice system, the FBI, or the laws of physics. So you know there's that. Oh, I hope you get what you deserve. Alec, you piece of sh**. Well, folks, nothing like talking about Alec Baldwin to put me in a sour mood. There's really not much more to say. A sad situation made all the more worse by the Baldwins. So my friends, please help out the channel by hitting that like button and click on the notification bell if you haven't already, so that you'll be kept up to speed whenever I drop my next video. I don't know if you can hear the rain outside. It's apropos that it's raining. Stay safe, and as always, I wish you peace.